is really for you. So this will help you think what are the things that we do, what are like what's your takeaway after this. Okay? So welcome, and then we will start with I will be introducing you to the real estate in the US. So what is the real estate market in the US? This is one of the biggest industry in the US. So unlike in the Philippines, when we sell a part of our or when we sell some of the properties that we do have, it could be land, your home, um, something that you inherit from your parents, you're going to sell it. The very effective way that we actually do is through words of mouth. It has been practiced over years that we do it that way. And then what we do is we just take or do everything like the legal process by ourselves. So going to the assessor's office, have it checked, and then we just look for a buyer, and then or sometimes we would allow other people to sell it on our behalf. But these are not called real estate agents. They could be an agent. It's very rampant nowadays. They're within the area that where I live in. By the way, I'm from Panabo City, so it's very popular that people just post on Facebook for sale, PM me for interested buyers, something like that. So in the US, when it comes to real estate, most of the people would go to hire a real estate broker, professional, who can handle the selling of their property at the best market value. So for you to understand, before I jump to like earlier today, I am thinking of like my presentation tonight. I cannot really just jump on to what the transaction coordination is, simply because there are newbies in the industry, or there might be already like virtual assistants in the past, but you are current virtual assistant, but you are not doing real estate. So it's very good that you have a clear understanding what real estate in the US is. So in this training, we will be discussing the difference or the how do they sell their properties in the US. So again, going back to the Philippines, there in the recent years, I will take it as an example. There is Camellia, and there are already real estate agents who are taking up um, brokers license, get their license, so they become brokers, and they are well versed with selling properties. So slowly we are getting the idea how the real estate in the US is. So if you wanted to become a virtual assistant, understanding what real estate in the United States of America is very important. Okay? So here in the Philippines, it's just through words of mouth. And then we take someone, an agent to represent, and then we just pay them. They have assigned a very, very long contract, which though we don't understand, and like that there might be terms and conditions that in a long way you make a deposit and then it's non-refundable, non-transferable. It happened to me. So I became so careful, and after that experience. So in the US, it's very different. Everything is legal, everything is taxable. You cannot just buy a property, I'll buy this for this specific amount. I am a seller, I wanted to sell my house for 1 million pesos. It's not that. You cannot price your home because in the US, they will have you, or they will take the market value out from the neighborhoods. Whatever is the value of the property, you yourself cannot say, I will sell this for 1 million. No, it will depend on the neighborhoods, the subdivision, the properties which has the same number of beds and baths, the number of stories. It could be two-story house that you have. So it's always like that. So I will dig more on those topics when I present to you the property types in the US. So for now, it's just very, very light because I don't want to do like information overload. So just to give you an idea, why there's a lot of jobs in the US. There are a lot of jobs in the US because everything, they would hire someone to do it on their behalf. They would really hire real estate agents to sell the property. Of course, there are owners that would just like market their property, but then sometimes it leads to some legal consequences that they have to handle after the closing of the sale. That's it. So, different real estate careers. I will start with real estate investors. So, when you are applying for a job, when you become ready to take your first move in the application, I want you to know the different real estate careers or clients that you will handle in the future. So we do have real estate investors. So who are real estate investors? In the Philippines, when we say investor, that is someone that will have a huge amount that will be funding a business. So that's how we understand investors. But in the real estate, these are also considered real estate investor are the people who are buying properties or land and try to maximize their profits and sell their investments. So it's like if I am an investor, I would buy a property, I will make it, I will build a house, and then I will sell it. So that's how the real investors in the US works. Okay? Then we will proceed to the next, which is the real estate wholesaler. So, what is a wholesaler? I have experience working for an investor and a wholesaler. So, a wholesaler is someone that, sorry, someone that buys the property. So, it's the best for US citizens. It is one of the best real estate careers for making money quickly. So what they do is they find a distressed property whose owners are already motivated to sell quickly. When we say distressed property, it could be that in the US, it's not like in the Philippines that we cannot there's like an extension of paying taxes. So in the US, if it's already like tax season and you cannot pay your tax, your property might be um, the government will forfeit it or they will get the property. So in another way, sayang ang imong invest. You did not invest. Owning the property, you have to pay your tax on time. So if it's already like a distressed one, that's one that we consider for distressed sellers. We call them distressed sellers. Another thing, if they cannot pay the tax, another thing is that they went to divorce and they just wanted to sell the property. They divorced and they just wanted to sell the property and like just move on with their lives. So they as well fall into distressed sellers. Another thing is like if the house that they own, they are moving to another state or they are already like the house consider in a subdivision. If you can see, there are houses that are already that they will not able to pay their mortgage. So meaning to say they have to surrender it back to the mortgage company, and then the mortgage company will put that into auction. To avoid doing that, and so that they can have their mortgage pay, because if they were not able to pay their any debts in the US, it could cost them a bad credit, and it would lead to the government will not allow them to purchase anything, even with their like getting mobile phone service. They could not. There's a tendency that the government will no longer allow them to purchase any future investment, and they may have to make their credit scores again back to what is being required. So to avoid having that, they will sell the property and make sure that they were able to pay their debts. So a real estate wholesaler sailor, actually their job there is really that they will just pretend that they will be buying the property, but in fact they will find an investor who will be funding, who will be buying the property at a very at its right value, and then during the closing they earn like $5,000 to $10,000. So there's a lot of job that they will do of being a wholesaler, but that's the easiest way for them to make money in the real estate industry. Okay, and then next is I have here real estate agent and real estate broker. So I want to tell you the real estate agent is different from being a real estate broker. So others might say, if you have clients, oh, are you a real estate agent? It's very important. Some of them are sensitive, calling them agent and a broker because these two are different. So let's tackle first the real estate agent. So a real estate agent is one of the most common real estate career. So the agent will help sell or buy properties. So help people sell or buy properties, meaning they could be a buyer's agent and or a seller's agent. So most common in the US, there's a residential real estate agent, and another one is a commercial real estate agent. They are the ones who assess the cost, the seller or the buyer in doing the transaction. So you'll also need a license to become a real estate agent. On the other hand, a real estate broker, almost the same job description, but there are but the only difference is that they work for like a brokerage. They are an agent with a brokerage. They can be they can also be doing their own get a broker's license, and then have their own brokerage. So I'll simplify it. A real estate agent, they apply for a license. They could be a subdivision agent. And then a real estate broker is a broker who passes the real estate broker's licensing board, the examination, plus they will get an access to multi-listing service. Every state in the US has MLS, we call it MLS, and that is multi-listing service. They will get access to that. Other the real estate agents, they do not. They are not a member of MLS. So for you to be in to have an access to MLS, you must be a real estate broker or you have a broker's license. And then next, we have the real estate developers. We often refer to them as the builders of the real estate property, subdivisions, houses. So this type of jobs are the builders. By the way, for those who just join in, this different real estate careers, we need to know this one because we are doing virtual assistant and we will not be working with these titles. We will not become broker, but we are like a real estate broker's assistant. So a virtual assistant. Next, we have the property manager. A property manager in the US, there are apartment complex where people are um, renting. So a property manager, or if there's like a house that you wanted to submit to a company, they will handle that for you, including the paying of the bills, um, electric bills, phone bill. I mean, if there's a telephone bill, water bill, gas, they will uh, manage it on your behalf. And then we have the real estate appraiser. The real estate appraiser list, like I've mentioned earlier, in the US, you cannot just sell your property by your own choice. There will be an appraiser who will appraise the property. We also have it here in the Philippines. We do have appraisers, but we do not practice it. Like, for example, when we assume the house, whatever the owner would tell how much the value is, not unless you'll do it on a legal process. You will hire an appraiser that will add cost to you. But in the US, there is a standard that there will be an appraiser looking at the property, especially if a broker or a lender, a mortgage company, they will send out a real estate appraiser to inspect the property, and they will tell you they will have a report like what happened to the roof. Like they make a report of the entire thing, and they do set how much the house would cost. And then we have the real estate loan officer. These are the lenders. So in a mortgage company, for example, I'm buying, I will be applying for a loan. There is a loan officer. So that will work with you. And then we have the mortgage broker. So mortgage company, they also go through license. The mortgage brokers, um, they will be offering you loans you will discuss. The difference between a loan officer and a broker, a loan officer works with a specific do the office works. They will process the loan amount, everything, the loan coordination. The brokers are the ones who goes out on the field or do the phone calls to offer the services of the mortgage company. Next is real estate marketing specialist. So if I am a motivated seller and I wanted to sell my house, there will be different marketing strategies in the US. In the Philippines, we do post it on our personal accounts. We do whatever we want with the text, with everything. So in the US, there are different state laws that covers each state. So what they do is different guidelines when it comes to marketing. There are states that they won't allow pre-marketing, meaning to say if they are in a contract with a real estate broker, they are not allowed to pre-market it, meaning they have to list it first. The listing must go live on MLS. By the way, MLS, I will discuss that by tomorrow. So you'll have a clear understanding. For now, you can park whatever questions that you do have, like regarding listing a property in MLS. I'm just giving you an overview what these careers are. So if other states would not allow pre-marketing of the property, meaning say you're not allowed to post it in Facebook if it's in a contract with a listing agent, while on the other states they do allow coming soon of the properties, launching it on the online so that they can start the marketing even though the property is not yet listed in MLS. And then the last one is the real estate assistant. Real estate assistant, these are the ones that works in do the back end support, or the assistants in the office. So slowly, a real estate assistant in the US, an office can actually, or a broker can actually get an assistant. So they are referred to this last career, and this is where we belong. So virtual assistant comes as a real estate assistant. This is the job that we do have. The only difference is we work offshore, virtual. But all other things that an office person or an office assistant can do in the US, we can also do that through online. So right now, you have already like I think I already have provided you the um, even though it's not really concrete details, maybe an overview what these jobs are and what it takes to become like a real estate transaction coordinator. At this moment, maybe you have questions, you can actually type in the chat. There's none. Questions so far, guys? Think we're good. Okay, we'll proceed to
Please
the
do not hesitate to, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, I'll proceed to the next slide. Okay, real estate assistant. So real estate assistant, you can become like the office manager. So a virtual assistant can be an office manager even though you are not in the office. That is just your title, meaning to say you have to manage the entire office activities. And then you can be a back office support, meaning to say you handle the orders, you handle paperwork, some of the paperwork, the emails that come in, anything that can assist for example, in the brokerage, could be like 100 agents. You can assist in all other jobs, being a back office support. Then we do have graphic designers. They are the ones who create the posters, the layout, the social media images that goes out on the Facebook page or any website, anything to do with marketing online when it comes to graphic designing. And then we do have the admin assistant. The admin assistant supports the um, the CEO of the company. Same thing. Most common task would be managing their emails, answering their phone calls, um, do reports during meetings, set up events. So those are just the tasks, but not limited to that. And then I want to highlight two things in the real estate assistant, and that is listing coordinator and transaction coordinator. So if you go to Google and type out what listing coordinator and transaction coordinator is, they do play an important role in the real estate industry. So once you are a well-versed transaction coordinator, I tell you, in the span of like, let's say, it also depends on your communication skills and on your interview skills. So if you are a transaction coordinator, you can get a job in just 5 days, knowing all the systems, knowing that you have the experience. In just 5 days, you'll be hired as a transaction coordinator. But of course, it doesn't happen overnight. If you are really focusing on getting a job online, so these things can help you. So let's go to real estate transaction coordination. So again, you can be a listing coordinator or a transaction coordinator or do both. Because before there's that real estate transaction coordination, they have a separate they do the listing and the another is a transaction. And then I'll take you to what that means on the next training that we will be doing. Okay, so let's focus on what is a transaction coordinator. As you can see, in the most, aside from doing sales, the most the most common job post would be hiring for a transaction coordinator. So what is a transaction coordinator? So it is a real estate professional that manages a transaction from start to finish. So they are trained in every aspect of transaction and handle paperwork, communication, and deadlines involved in the processes. I want to highlight deadlines involved in the processes. So if you are a busy person, if you are a busy person or you have a lot of activities in your life, forget becoming a transaction coordinator, not unless you can handle or you can manage your time well. Why? There will be deadlines set. So let's say, for example, if you have a family affair and you wanted to join and then you have deadlines, you cannot just go out and tell your boss, hey, I will be absent today. That's not the norm. Being a transaction coordinator, you have to be there at specific scheduled time and days of work because there are deadlines that you have to meet every aspect. Okay, next. Oops. So what does transaction coordinator? So we have a for, hold on, here. A transaction coordinator, or most common, we call them TC, so stands for transaction and then coordinator. This is someone who assists a real estate agent by performing administrative duties required during each stage of the transaction from contract to closing. So that's what they do. Next, we do have transaction coordinator for listings or listing coordinators. They are the ones who will enter the listing in MLS, the signing listing agreements and documents, completing all disclosures, and then everything else to maintain the listing prior to receiving offer. I'll go into details to this one by tomorrow. And then we also have transaction coordinator for buyers. So they do inspection, scheduling inspections with the real estate appraiser, ordering appraisals, ordering title and survey, and then other items that they have to do, like in utilities and scheduling movers. Okay, so these are the items that you will be performing when you do your transaction coordinator. So I'll give you a copy of this so that you can actually review, and you can actually, like, in this span of time, I want to give you to help yourself also how to do Google search, like real estate, how to schedule and coordinate inspection. Becoming a real estate virtual assistant is really more on Google. Google is your best friend during times on your first VA career. Everything is in Google. Almost everything is in Google. So for today, that's it. I might be the discussion might be very short because I don't want to overwhelm everyone. For those who are joining this training, I will have another set of training tomorrow. I will go in details, so you are still all welcome to join me. If ever this is not, you think that this is not something that you right now, you decide to, like, or you can actually think of it if you still want to push through with the training, because I don't want to waste your time. So that's why I decided this first day I will be discussing or presenting to you what we do in the real estate industry as a virtual assistant. Do you have any question?
Yes, any questions, please? Comments, violent reactions.
Okay. What are some common tasks of a transaction coordinator? Yes, most common would be adding, there are two segments or two parts of the transaction coordination. First is from pre-listing, we call it pre-listing to active listing. That's the first phase. So what you do there, what you do, you order signs, you prepare the documents, you fill it out as much as possible, 80%. The rest, like having the price, the listing dates, that can be done by the agent. So you can support them with preparing the contracts for the sellers to sign, ordering signs. By the way, signage in the US, you cannot just create your own signage, like say you ice for sale, that's not allowed, or you just put like you dig anywhere to put a signage, that's not allowed. It should be coordinated with utility companies. So ordering signage, preparing the social, preparing the social media images for pre-marketing. You also have to input listings, data entry, input listing, and have the agent review it, order photography, videography, um, and then you will have to send out the emails to the seller, and then you also need to review if all, like, once the contract is signed, you have to review all sections, making sure that it's all signed and complete. So that's for the listing side. With the And then once the property gets a contract, an offer. So once the property gets an offer, meaning to say there is already an interested buyer who is represented by a broker as well in the transaction, they make an offer. And then the seller and the listing agent can actually accept or do counter offer or decline the offer. If they do agree mutually, they will now enter into contract. So we now call the property under contract. And then you start reaching out to escrows, reaching out to title, making the property or the listing to pending or under contract. And then you will need to check with the buyers or with the seller or the buyers with the utility transfers. And then you need to call and work with the lender, and then the appraisal, coordinate the inspection, make sure that the home warranties and insurance are managed and monitors, and then the key dates. And then if it's a condo, you must coordinate with the homeowners association's requirements and transfer, and then you work with the escrow companies for the closing documents and signing. So those are some of the easy tasks that you will be doing as a transaction coordinator. So there's a lot of job that you will be doing, but you'll in the beginning there might be a lot of information if you work as a TC, but on later parts it's just the same process, and it's very and once you're master of it, it will be easy for you to handle. Any other question? Or Derek, that does answer your question? Any other question?
Just turn on your mic. Oh, yes, thank you. We're open for discussions, guys. So please feel free to turn your mic on and ask questions if you don't want to type it in. If you're afraid to speak in English, you can speak in Tagalog or Bisaya. We can also understand Bisaya. So please just throw any questions before we end the training. Um, just give it a go. If you're confused or whatever ideas you have in mind or thought in mind that about real estate, um, this is the good time to ask because as we go further, the discussions are deeper and it's more complicated. So this one is just like an overview, but on the coming days, it will not be like this, and
Mhm.
it might confuse you if you don't have if you did not understand the overview very well. So please just please ask questions. We will trainer Joe will be very pleased to answer all your questions as she can.
Okay. Mark Clean Lastimosa, is it a requirement to have a real estate experience when you are applying for any of these careers? Uh, yes, but there are clients open to do training with you. So in the beginning, um, there are so it's like this. We have high-end clients. We call them high-end, and most of them are from Keller Williams, Remax, uh, Berkshire Hathaway, Century 21, EXP. Those are high-end clients, and those are busy brokers because they do have targets as well. So if they want to meet their target, they should be focused on income generating activities. And they wanted an assistant who already knows how to do transaction coordination. The very purpose of this training really is that I would like to share my transaction coordination knowledge with you all for free. Why? Because when I was starting, nobody teaches me. The first job that I got was in the real estate industry as a compliance officer. That has a very that the role is very complicated because being a compliance officer meaning you have to check every document. I do not have a real estate background with working with clients, but I was able to get a comprehensive training from my Outdesk Incorporated. I am part of GVA 48 back in 2012 or 13. Yeah, 2012. I was part of that group, and then I we were trained without pay, and that's for 10 days. Imagine 10 days without training, 8 hours from 9 from 8 p.m. until 5 a.m. and no pay. Um, I I get paid for the training if you are hired by a client or a broker already. So I do not have the experience. I just have the training. I was able to get a job, and from there, I was able to apply everything that I learned from training, and keep on learning. So to have a real estate experience, really, I think the training will do. There is a secret on how to win a client, and I will disclose that on the last day of this interview. Even though you don't have the experience, there is a technique in winning a client during the interview, and I'd like to share that on the last day of this training, not early as now. So that is for you to help you find a client. So experience is always there, is always being asked. And for those, let's say for example, you don't have the experience yet, but then you are very good with training. You're able to capture everything. You're able to do what I have because we will be doing some practice. I will help you practice reading real estate contracts, and then you really do well. Then there will be techniques in winning that, and I'd like to share that with you.
That's the great news. It's an ending with a bang, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, and we're excited because for now, the pink box is free, but eventually, we discuss further, and then we will possibly decide that it will not be free anymore. But
mhm,
as of the moment, we want to share this with you to have the for all of you to have the opportunity to apply as a virtual assistant, as a real estate virtual assistant because of the pandemic. And this is a great opportunity to shift your careers from a regular office job to a home based job.
yeah.
Any more questions?
So,
I think that's it. I'm excited to the discussion tomorrow.
yes.
So, do you have any additional stuff to discuss or closing remarks?
Yes. So for now, I don't want to, again, I don't want to overload with you with the information. I'm just sharing this to you so that you have like an understanding what real estate transaction coordination is. By tomorrow, we'll start discussing uh, basic system, the most basic system that in the real estate, and that would be the MLS, multi-listing service, and then other CRMs that I have. I will try to share that, and then for after that, it will just be within an hour. So it could be like 45 minutes to 1 hour discussion. And then if you do have questions, I'll adjust the timeline. But for the upcoming weeks, I'm devoting myself to do a 1 hour training every Saturday and Sunday. That's from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Sorry if it's kind of late in the evening because I have to do household chores. I have to do household chores, and I'm devoting myself to do this training so you'll get the ideas, and also you can ask me questions. And yeah, for tomorrow will be all about systems that we are using in the real estate industry. Because that's one of like when you go to interviews, they would be asking you what are the systems that you have used before. It will be easy if you've mentioned multi-listing services, what you do inside multi-listing services. There's a great possibility you can get a job as a transaction coordinator.
Yes, that's a great news.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
so guys, please do join the training tomorrow in continuation to the training from today.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Enjoy the weekend.
All
Bye.
right, good night. Bye.